Throughout history, society has often oscillated between valuing conformity and celebrating uniqueness. In many cultures, there is a constant tug-of-war between the comfort of fitting in and the allure of standing out. The scales, more often than not, are tipped in favor of conforming to societal norms, for it promises safety, acceptance, and less resistance. However, there are those individuals who, either by choice or destiny, diverge from the beaten path, radiating a light that commands attention. Enter Miyamoto Musashi, a man whose name resonates not just as an undefeated swordsman, but as a symbol of unwavering uniqueness. Born in an era that revered traditions and rituals, especially in the disciplined world of the samurai, Musashi's approach was anything but typical. While others sought mastery within established norms, Musashi crafted his own. His techniques, his philosophies, and his very way of life were imbued with a distinctiveness that, in many ways, contrasted sharply with the conventional wisdom of his time. In this exploration, we will embark on a journey to understand the essence of Musashi's uniqueness. How did he navigate a world that often misunderstood or opposed his divergent views? And more importantly, what can we, living in a very different era, learn from his audacity to be different? Prepare to delve into a narrative where difference isn't just accepted, it's celebrated. Musashi's early years. Born to stand out. Musashi isn't one of sudden transformation. Instead, it's a narrative of a life inherently set on a unique trajectory. As we rewind to his formative years, we find a young boy not bound by the confines of typical samurai upbringing. Unlike many tales of great men molded purely by adversity, Musashi's story is nuanced. While adversities played their part, it was his innate curiosity and independent spirit that truly set him apart. Growing up without the consistent presence of a father, the traditional ways of the samurai weren't rigidly imprinted upon him. Instead, he found himself in a position to question, experiment, and redefine his own code of honor. In a society that reveres lineage, Musashi's self-taught swordsmanship was both an audacious act of defiance and a testament to his innate talent. But it wasn't just in the realm of combat that young Musashi displayed an inclination for the unorthodox. His perspectives on life, relationships, and even art were a far cry from what would be expected from someone of his stature. These early deviations, though subtle, were the precursors to the profound ways in which Musashi would later redefine samurai legacy. Defying conventional wisdom, Musashi's unorthodox techniques. Musashi's philosophy wasn't just confined to abstract thought, it manifested tangibly in his approach to combat. The mainstream samurai culture held certain tenets sacred, venerated methods that had been passed down generations. But Musashi, with his instinctive disdain for the mundane and conventional, sought to rewrite these scriptures of combat. Enter the Niten Ichi Ryu, the dual sword technique, a manifestation of Musashi's audacity. While most samurais were mastering the art of the single blade, Musashi was choreographing a dance with two. This wasn't just showmanship, it was a potent blend of strategy and skill. By wielding both the katana and the wakizashi simultaneously, he presented opponents with an unpredictable and, more often than not, insurmountable challenge. But it wasn't just the weapons, it was his methodology. Musashi would often arrive late to duels, psychologically destabilizing his opponents. He switched fighting stances, used unconventional grips, and sometimes even employed wooden swords, proving that it was the man, not the weapon, that truly mattered. In an age of honor and tradition, Musashi's innovative techniques were not just strokes of genius, but also acts of rebellion. Through his actions, he demonstrated that being different, when combined with purpose and prowess, could evolve into a formidable force. In the face of orthodoxy, Musashi became the embodiment of evolution, constantly adapting, always surprising, and rewriting the rules of engagement. Solitude as strength, choosing the lone path. Where Musashi's dual sword technique was a stark departure from the norm in combat, his preference for solitude was his rebellion against societal conventions. In an era where affiliations to schools, clans, and masters often defined a samurai's worth and standing, Musashi trod a singular path, eschewing the company of many to engage in a deep dialogue with himself and his surroundings. While for many, solitude might be seen as a retreat or an escape, for Musashi, it was a conscious choice. a strategy. It was during these moments of isolation that Musashi distilled his thoughts, refined his techniques, and cultivated his unparalleled discipline. By seeking silence, he amplified the most important voices, those of his inner self and the natural world around him. This approach wasn't just about self-imposed exile, it was a powerful statement. In choosing solitude, Musashi was not running away from society, but rather transcending its limitations. He was creating a space free from external judgments and pressures, where he could test and redefine his own boundaries. The lone samurai became a symbol of self-reliance and individuality. By carving out his unique path and not letting societal norms dictate his journey, Musashi illustrated that often, true strength lies not in blending in, but in confidently standing apart. Artistic ventures, the samurai sculptor and painter. Beyond the battlefield's clang and the silent stretches of introspection, Musashi's drive to stand out found another canvas, quite literally. This legendary swordsman, often imagined with swords poised for combat, also wielded a brush with equal dexterity. And just as he defied convention in combat, Musashi's artistic expressions too bore the mark of an unorthodox genius. For Musashi, the canvas and the battleground weren't as dissimilar as they might seem to us. In both arenas, he showcased a remarkable ability to see beyond the obvious, to perceive and then portray depth and nuance where others might see only the superficial. His paintings, often reflecting nature's simplicity, displayed a depth that was both a reflection of his unique worldview and a testament to his keen observational skills. His artwork wasn't just an act of creation, it was an act of rebellion. At a time when many artists adhered to specific schools or established styles, Musashi's pieces were distinct, bearing his personal stamp. In his art, as in his life, he refused to be pigeonholed, emphasizing fluidity and adaptability over strict adherence to established norms. The world knew Musashi as a warrior, but his artistic ventures reveal another side to this multifaceted individual, a side that sought expression and interpretation, not just through the sharpness of a blade, but through the gentle strokes of a brush. His foray into the arts stands as a reminder that being different isn't just about rebelling. It's about redefining, rediscovering, and reimagining. Musashi's philosophy, redefining samurai values. In an era dominated by the Bushido Code, which extolled virtues like loyalty, honor, and discipline, Musashi charted a different course, subtly reshaping these very ideals. His name is often synonymous with the art of dueling, but Musashi's greatness stemmed from a deep well of philosophy that frequently veered from the established path of his contemporaries. Though Bushido emphasized rigid loyalty to one's lord, Musashi was famously a ronin, a masterless samurai. This autonomy wasn't a rejection of the samurai code, but a redefinition. He showcased a type of loyalty, not necessarily to a singular feudal lord, but to the path of self-improvement and mastery. His loyalty was to the way of the sword and, more broadly, to life's continual pursuit of knowledge. Similarly, while honor in the traditional sense involved avenging insults and upholding one's family name, Musashi saw honor in understanding an opponent, in the mutual respect between warriors, and in seeking challenges not for glory, but for growth. He refrained from unnecessary violence, emphasizing strategy and psychology over brute strength. Additionally, his view on discipline diverged as well. Instead of the rigid routines often associated with samurai training, Musashi championed adaptability. He believed in understanding the essence and then applying it fluidly to different situations, as evident in his multiple disciplines, from martial arts to artistry. In essence, Musashi didn't abandon the values of Bushido. He expanded upon them, offering a fresh perspective that encouraged individual thought and self-determined purpose. By reinterpreting the age-old samurai ethics, Musashi left an indelible mark, proving that tradition and innovation could coexist harmoniously. Critics and challenges. The cost of being different. Stepping outside of convention, as Musashi so boldly did, inevitably invites both admiration and criticism. While his innovative techniques and philosophy left a significant mark on history, they weren't always met with universal approval during his time. After redefining the ideals of Bushido and venturing into artistic realms, Musashi found himself at odds with many traditionalists. Some viewed his unorthodox methods as disrespect to established norms, while others saw his Ronin status as a rejection of the samurai's duty to serve. Critics whispered about his tactics, with some even labeling them as cowardly or dishonorable. But adversity, for Musashi, was just another face of the same coin. Every criticism he faced only fueled his resolve. Instead of seeking validation from his detractors, Musashi used their doubts as a mirror, reflecting upon himself and refining his techniques and beliefs even further. He believed in the strength of his convictions and saw challenges as opportunities for growth. Moreover, Musashi never shied away from facing his critics, both in philosophical debates and on the dueling grounds. Many of his famous battles were not just tests of martial skill, but also validations of his approach to life and combat. In a world that often demands conformity, Musashi's journey illuminates the struggles of standing out, of choosing the road less traveled. Yet, through all the challenges, his story resonates as a testament to the idea that genuine strength stems from unwavering belief in oneself, even when the world seems to disagree. Guided reflection, applying Musashi's wisdom. Drawing inspiration from a life as distinctive as Musashi's, one is prompted to reflect on their own path. Just as Musashi carved his niche in a world that often seemed at odds with his choices, each of us grapples with the challenges of asserting our individuality amidst societal pressures. How does one navigate a world that celebrates conformity, equipped only with their unique traits and perspectives? How do we find the strength to prioritize authenticity over acceptance? Musashi's journey offers not only inspiration but also actionable wisdom. To truly tap into the power of being different, one must first recognize and accept their unique essence. This means pausing, reflecting, and understanding what sets us apart, and more importantly, why that's a strength rather than a liability. Exercise 1. Think of a time you felt different or out of place. Instead of focusing on the discomfort, identify the strengths and insights that came from that experience. Exercise 2. Write down 3 qualities that set you apart from others. For each trait, list out how it has benefited you or can be leveraged as a strength in the future. Exercise 3. Recall a figure from history or your personal life who embraced their differences. What lessons can you draw from their experience? As viewers engage in these exercises, they'll uncover layers of themselves that perhaps remained uncelebrated. Musashi's story serves as a reminder that it's not only okay to be different, but, in many cases, it's our differences that chart the course to greatness. The legacy of a Maverick. As our journey through the life and teachings of Miyamoto Musashi comes to a close, we're left with a resonating echo of his legacy, a testament to the strength, beauty, and power of embracing one's uniqueness. In a world that often praised uniformity and tradition, Musashi dared to challenge the status quo, not merely for the sake of rebellion, but to stay true to his core self. The story of this legendary samurai, painter, sculptor, and philosopher serves as a poignant reminder that there is an ineffable strength in being unapologetically oneself. While the world may champion the idea of fitting in, true legends are often those who stand out, and not just stand out, but do so with purpose and authenticity. However, Musashi's narrative is more than just an inspiring tale from history. It's a mirror held up to each one of us, prompting introspection. What parts of ourselves have we tucked away to meet societal norms? What potential remains untapped because it doesn't fit the conventional mold? The legacy of Miyamoto Musashi beckons each viewer to walk their own path, to cherish the aspects that make them unique, and to harness those qualities in their pursuits. As we wrap up this exploration, we leave you with a thought. In a world that often rushes towards conformity, could your difference, your uniqueness, be your greatest strength? Now, as Musashi would likely advise, the onus lies upon us not just to appreciate our individuality, but to wield it with purpose, precision, and pride.